In this video, I want to show you exactly which KPIs or key performance indicators you need to be measuring in your real estate business if you are doing any type of paid marketing. Hey guys, if you haven't met me yet, my name is Emmanuel. I am the founder of Square One Group. Really, our mission is to help you identify your expertise and then help you scale your real estate business using systems. That said, got nothing to sell you. We make these videos because we want to try to help bring in some new business for you so that when you do decide to scale, you keep us in mind because we'd love to work with you. Anyways, today I want to jam on with you about KPIs because the reality is most agents don't know their numbers. And if you don't know yours, then this is going to be a super helpful video for you. Now, I want to start this video by quoting Peter Drucker, where he says, what can be measured can be managed. And I want to start with this because knowing your numbers is incredibly important. It's really what separates a 7, 8, 9-figure entrepreneur or a super successful real estate agent from everyone else on the field. And to be quite honest with you, I can tell by talking to any real estate agent, their maturity of their marketing based on the answers to some very simple questions. And these questions could be things like, how many leads do you generate? How much do those leads cost? How many of those convert into opportunities? What are the costs of those opportunities? What's the show up rate for your appointments? What's your conversion rate, etc., etc., etc. Now, if you're the owner of your business and you can't clearly dictate how many leads you're acquiring, what does your pipeline look like, or how much does it all cost in each phase of the pipeline, then you don't really know what's going on in your marketing. And having your numbers dialed in gives you the exact information you need to understand so you know which levers to pull when it comes to the lead gen, lead nurture, or sales strategies of your business. Look, at the end of the day, you're the person responsible for the revenue generation of your business. So these numbers, you need to be on top of them. And as one of my mentors, Dan Martell, says, no measurement, no growth. So what are the exact numbers you need to know? Well, let's hop into the iPad and let's break this down, shall we? Okay, so the easiest way to understand the numbers, or really the metrics you need to be tracking, is to really reverse engineer the steps required to get to a transaction. So if the transaction is here, then what are the steps that we typically take to get there? And in our playbook, it typically looks like this. It starts off with the lead, and then we look at the convo. Because ideally, in order to set an appointment, a conversation needs to happen. So we track how many leads that lead to how many conversations, and then from how many conversations, how many appointments are booked. Now, in addition to tracking how many appointments are booked, the next KPI, or the next thing that we track, is how many are taken. Now, this is a super important metric to track because by tracking the show up rate of someone that is interested in working with you and someone that you actually talk to will be a clear indicator if you have a leak in your funnel and if that is something that needs to be addressed. So for example, if you have 10 people saying they want to talk to you, but you only talk to 3, then there's something that you maybe need to add in there or something that you need to do to make sure that your show up rate kind of matches up to the appointments booked number. And then from appointments taken, the next step in our playbook is strategy sessions, or really this is indicative of maybe like a listing presentation or a meeting with a client on a Zoom call to really present your value, your unique selling proposition, the offer that you have to them that's different from all of the other agents in the market. And then if you had a really good strategy session, then the next metric that we track is new client. And really the idea behind this is there's potentially a certain amount of new clients that will lead to a certain amount of new transactions. And that's simply because not every new client is a now buyer or a now seller. But in essence, if you really want to scale up, you really have to make sure that there's constantly new clients being fed into the funnel, which will essentially be able or allow you the ability to predict when the next transaction is going to happen or is going to take place. So here's the big picture view of the different steps. Now, the key here is if we need to get to one transaction, we essentially need to figure out how many leads equals to how many conversations equals to how many appointments booked, leads to how many appointments taken, leads to how many strategy sessions, leads to how many clients to get to this one transaction. And once you're able to identify these numbers, then the next step of this is really trying to break down what the percentages are for each conversion down this kind of flow, this pipeline, this funnel. So what is the percentage here, so on and so forth to get to that one transaction. By the way, quick pro tip here, getting the percentages is no more than dividing what's in front of you by what's behind you. So this by this. But anyways, I digress. The next metric that's very important to track is the cost per each step. Now, for example, if you wanted to measure your cost per acquisition, or essentially your cost per transaction, it's no more than taking the number that's indicated in this section here. Let's say cost per transaction, we would take this number, so maybe it'd be like a 1, and then dividing it by our total cost of marketing. And if you wanted to get additional costs per the different step of your funnel, it's no more than taking the numbers illustrated in each one of these sections and again, dividing it by your total marketing costs, and it should give you a dollar amount. Now, all of these metrics are extremely important to track. Like, you need to be looking at these and updating these numbers daily, weekly, and monthly. And it's simply because if you see spikes or dips in the percentages or the cost, then it usually means that there's something going on or something changed or something needs to be addressed, or just simply you need to make note of it because you might need to come back to that point in time in the future. By the way, if this has been helpful so far, if you could please hit that like button, subscribe button, the bell icon, really appreciate it. Anyway, now that you have this information to your advantage, how can you really use this? How can you really benefit from this? Well, step one is that you need to create some sort of daily metric tracker to monitor these numbers. Now, this doesn't have to be anything crazy. Personally, what we use and what we give all of our clients, it's Google Sheets. By the way, if you want to take a look at it, this is how ours looks like here. And we have kind of metrics to track paid traffic, daily, weekly, monthly, so on and so forth, as well as organic traffic. And the job is to make sure that all of these numbers are constantly inputted on a daily basis so we can track and monitor the trends. By the way, if you want a copy of our daily metric sheet in the comments section, type out the words "Oh sheet," and then either myself or someone on my team or reach out to you and get you the link. But if you wanted to build this on your own, it's real simple. All you need to do is just on a Google Sheet or on a spreadsheet, just that first column, put every single day of the year, and then across the top, put all of the data points that you want to track and that you want to measure. And then step two of this process is really to start filling in whatever data that you have available. By the way, if you don't have any available data yet, then start now. Start today. Start tracking these numbers daily. And then from here, the next step of the strategy is really simple. Just simply improve the numbers. You just got to improve the percentages. There's no secret here. The big difference between someone that's down here, or actually maybe down here, and someone up here in terms of their journey and success through digital marketing, the secret sauce separating the person down here from the person up here, it's just iteration. And iteration is no more than testing. And when I say testing, I mean testing everything. So if we go back to this example of the KPI breakdown here, things to test on the lead side would maybe be things like testing the messaging copy or the messaging creative of an advertisement, for example. Maybe testing the landing page or positioning of the elements on the landing page. If we're looking at conversation, maybe it's testing scripts. Specifically kind of throughout this whole process here. Maybe into the strategy session, it's testing out your listing presentation and maybe trying different techniques or different strategies of things to present during a listing presentation. But at the end of the day, the goal here is very simple. It is to test everything within the funnel. And I want to also set this expectation with you now. There is no silver bullet to this. It just does not exist. And the people that find success through scale of their real estate business or through any business using digital marketing strategy, they just have a very strong habit of constantly testing everything they know. Simply also knowing that 90% of the tests that they try to test out or they try to create are going to fail. But that remaining 10%, they will win and they will compound over time. And that's really what get people from down here to up here. And at the end of the day, with enough patience and a long enough time horizon, you will be able to accomplish the same. By the way, we jam on all things metrics and all that fun stuff inside of our Facebook group. It's free, link in the description below. And if you enjoyed this video, check out this one here. Bye.